Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Navreet Handal, Project Coordinator at Valley Vision. So excited to welcome you today to our Capital Region Coalition for Digital Inclusion convening. This is the second of the convening last week, which was focused on digital navigator services. This week, we'll be exploring partnership strategies and project opportunities with an exciting panel ahead of us, as well as an input session. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Trish Kelly.
Good afternoon, everyone. We did have a conversation green today in honor of St. Patrick's Day. So we're at various stages of that, but we are excited about everybody being here today. Broadband is a green strategy after all. So we're excited also to welcome a range of our local partners, our sponsor AT&T, and partners from the State Foundation for California Community Colleges, the PUC, and Department of Technology. So really looking forward to hearing from our local partners too about all the things that they're doing. This convening today is the second in a series of two. Last week we did an overview of digital navigator programs and resources, and we have a great partner in the California Emerging Technology Fund who's leading and supporting a lot of that work, and so they're here as well today. So today our panel is going to cover the bridging the digital divide and strategies and partnerships in action, and this is really important because what we've seen over the past few years is more and more community partners, local governments, and nonprofits especially, and our college partners taking on leadership roles in helping to try to connect with our communities and our libraries and activating solutions to the challenges that we face in our region. So Valley Vision convenes on behalf of the Capital Region, both Connected Capital Area Broadband Consortium, which is more of the infrastructure side, and then the Capital Region Coalition for Digital Inclusion. And so in that, guys, all are welcome, and expanding this network of organizations and folks. As Navreet mentioned, please introduce yourselves in the chat, and then we'll have opportunities through the course of this convening to add some input about your interest and opportunities to collaborate and move forward in a more organized way, perhaps, and leveraging more resources. So really want to explore the strategies for addressing the digital divide and what several of our community partners are doing. So we're going to hear from Color of the Block, the City of Sacramento, the Sacramento Public Library, and again, the California Emerging Technology Fund. So Navreet at the end is going to lead a Mentimeter exercise to share input on needs and gaps. So that's the purpose of our meeting today. And next slide, please, Navreet. So we want to thank our sponsor for this project initiative. They've supported us for other things like device distribution and other kinds of activities. But I'd like to thank our sponsor, AT&T, and I'd like to introduce our partner, Donna Davis, who is the Manager of External Affairs for the region in Northern California. And so it's really our honor to introduce her. Here's a picture of Donna presenting us with the grant award to do this project last fall with our board. We were very excited about that. And it takes sponsorship and partnership with our internet service providers to really reach the gaps. And so I'm honored to invite Donna to say a few words and to talk about the work that AT&T is doing in the region. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Trish. Well, I've got a little echo there. Okay. And I love this picture. We had that mural in the background. It's like one of the better check presentation pictures that I've been able to take. So thanks for sharing that. And just to recap, I am the External Affairs Manager for Sacramento and the North Coast. So I cover 10 counties with local government and with our community outreach. We've been really, really busy and active in the space of connecting communities and bridging this digital divide. And Trish, you talked about green strategies, right? And one of the strategies we have is to get devices in hands of those in our community that are in the greatest need, whether that's students and families, or now a really big push to make sure that our older adults are having access to laptops. So we partner with an organization called Human IT. They refurbish laptops. So we're keeping them out of the landfill and then putting them in the hands of those that need them. We launched this program in 2021, and since then we've distributed in California more than 31,000 devices. And we're continuing those efforts here in the greater Sacramento region. I think we're a little bit over 900 or 960 laptops that we've done here. And I am currently in the works of planning some for Yolo County and Sacramento County again this year as well. In the light of digital literacy and connection with organizations and to support students and older adults and their families with the skills and resources that they need to navigate this digital world, we also partner with various organizations like the National Council on Aging, Older Adults Technology Services, which is called OATS, and that's a part of an offering from AARP, Tech for Training, and also, among others, the National PTA. We provide digital literacy workshops and tools and resources for those partnerships as well. And then I'd say, lastly, because we have a couple here in Sacramento, we are also partnering in the community to build our AT&T Connected Learning Centers. And these are basically a drop-in computer lab, if you will. So we have one here at the Boys and Girls Club in Sacramento. AT&T provided desktop computers, $50,000 worth of funding to help revamp a computer lab space, including furniture and any remodeling access. And we also provide the fiber internet connection and Wi-Fi to support that computer lab, as well as some online educational resources through the Achievery. We'll be opening another one here in Sacramento in partnership with Street Soccer USA. And so we're expecting that to open this summer. Really excited to have another Connected Learning Center here in Sacramento. Happy to also be a resource to those on this call. Trish knows how to get a hold of me if you have questions about any of the work that we're doing in this space, and the work that we're doing, towards modernizing our technology and the services that we provide in the community. So thanks for having me.
And thank you, Donna. And you mentioned also previously about the infrastructure deployment, and that in the last meeting, and that really kind of was good for triggering the discussions with our health partners about telehealth and telemedicine opportunities. So maybe you could just mention that aspect too, and the partnership through the broadband.
Sure, absolutely. We've got a lot of great work in that space, a lot of fiber that's coming to some rural communities that might not have otherwise seen it. And that's been made possible through a lot of grant funding from the federal government, the FFA program. We've got projects, not only AT&T, but other providers and local jurisdictions are building fiber in areas of Yolo County and Sacramento County, throughout the Greater Valley, and even in some really, remote and rural places, all the way up in parts of my territory, like in Humboldt County. We have our first fiber builds happening in Lake County as well as a result of that federal funding account opportunity. There are some BEAD funding awards that are still pending, coming back from NTIA, that the PUC has already kind of chosen the awardees for those proposals and those projects that'll be bringing fiber to even more of the unserved and underserved communities, both rural and urban. And then additionally, AT&T too, we have our AT&T Internet Air, which is our fixed wireless offering. So that's something that's available, more broadly, and especially in some of these harder to reach areas where we have wireless service, and we're offering a fixed wireless solution for broadband connectivity. And yeah, exactly, Trish, to keep folks connected for telemedicine, for distance learning, for jobs. My parents got them, on broadband, and been happy to set my own father up to show him how to use his FaceTime so he can connect with his doctor instead of having to drive the 2 hours that he was having to drive to meet with a specialist. So it's amazing to actually see it come to fruition. They live in Wheatland, which is, in a rural part of Yuba County. And so it's been exciting to help see what we do here at AT&T actually, land in my own backyard with my family and see them take advantage of the technology.
Yeah, great, Donna. And also, we have our partners here from the workforce boards, Yolo County especially. So that's a whole other thing about the distance learning and access to jobs and those digital skills. So really grateful for the partnership, Donna, and look forward to working with you in the coming months to get those projects deployed. So thanks again for your sponsorship, Donna. And I'll turn it back over to Navreet now, who's going to introduce our panel.
Before we go ahead and introduce our panel, which thank you again to Trish and Donna for your introductions and welcoming today's convening, I'd like to give a quick moment for Anne at the California Department of Technology to provide a quick announcement and share more about their resource finder, which is an exciting toolkit related to digital inclusion. So Anne, if you're able to join us.
Hey everyone, thanks Navreet for the introduction and thanks for making a bit of time for me to do this quick announcement. As many of you may have already known or seen, the California Department of Technology will be launching the California Digital Equity Resource Finder. It is a tool that we're designing to help assist residents as well as organizations to find digital inclusion programs and services in their communities. It comes with a mapping function, a table view, a way for folks to either find resources themselves or work with their community members to find those resources, and for organizations to find other organizations who might be doing complementary work. So with that, we are in the process of testing out the tool right before launch. And so if we've been working with Navreet a lot to make sure it's inclusive of you all, of the Capital Region's organizations. But if we have missed anyone, we would like to drop the link here for you to either add a resource, or if we somehow upload data incorrectly, we would like to correct that before the launch. So just to ask is if you can add a resource that is not already on the Finder, or to make an update to an existing resource. And that would be very helpful once we launch. We're currently at 188 organizations with over 200 plus different specific locations. So hoping to grow that and continue to work with you all to make this a tool that is helpful for our collective digital inclusion work. So thanks for that. I'll drop the link in the chat.
Thank you so much, Anne. And for those that are aware as well, the California Department of Technology also provides monthly community of practice meetings as well, if possible, and dropping the registration for I believe next week's, which is on the 26th. We welcome you to attend those monthly community of practice meetings as well. With that in mind, I'd like to jump over to our lovely panel. Today's panel is focused on bridging the digital divide, strategies and opportunities focused within digital inclusion. We have 4 lovely panelists joining us today, which include Morgan Brown at Color the Block, Manuel Martinez at City of Sacramento, Susie Murray at Sacramento Public Library, as well as Kat Sigmont from the California Emerging Technology Fund. With that, I will go ahead and stop our share and welcome the panelists to go ahead and begin with introductions, both introducing themselves and their organization.
Well, I'm happy to begin. My name is Kat Zigmont. I am the Senior Vice President, as Navreet said, for the California Emerging Technology Fund. I have been with CETF for about 9 months. At this point in my previous life, I was working in disability rights and assistive and accessible technologies. And so I worked with a lot of the same communities in the technology range. But here at CETF, our mission is to close the digital divide, which we consider the challenge, to promote digital inclusion, which we consider the process, and to achieve digital equity, which is the results. And in California, we do that by accelerating both deployment and adoption of broadband in underserved and unserved communities. both the communities and the residents themselves. And CETF is a unique creature. We were established as a nonprofit corporation by the California Public Utility Commission during the process of approving mergers with both SBC and AT&T and Verizon and MCI in 2005. And as a condition of the approval of those mergers, they required $60 million over 5 years to go into a pot to establish CETFs. And for that reason, we report to the legislature as well as are a nonprofit. And we really are working in that public-private partnership space quite a lot. In particular, to ensure that California is a national leader in the availability and use of broadband technology. So I'll stop there.
Okay, I can jump in. My name is Morgan Brown. I am the CEO and founder of Color the Block. We are a Sacramento-based nonprofit that focuses on empowering underserved communities through education, technology, access, environmental stewardship, and youth and family programming. A lot of our services have primarily focused on neighborhoods in South Sacramento, where we focus on a reduction of a lot of systemic barriers that impact the economic mobility, health access, as well as educational opportunity. I feel like this partnership that we've had with CETF has been so instrumental in us also seeing some of the barriers, especially when working with our senior communities. It's been super, super impactful working with the senior communities. A lot of people don't even really know how closely mental health and digital inclusion are connected. So being able, one, to help kind of work with the social and digital anxiety that our seniors face with not knowing how to operate this technology, or even have access has been very, very inspiring to be a part of helping to bridge that gap. So far, I believe that we've served over 70 senior residents over the past few months. And they love it. Like a lot of people that finish our cohorts come back to the cohorts just to, still continue to learn. So again, it's been pretty rewarding, working in this new digital world and helping to disseminate this information to our communities.
And I can go next. Hi, Manny Martinez. I'm with the City of Sacramento. I'm the City of Sacramento IT Operations Manager. So I've been with the city for 36 years and have worked in several capacities during my tenure here. Well, working for the city, I've worked my way up from installing data cables to designing extensive regional fiber optic networks. So I'm a native Sacramentan, graduated Hiram Johnson High School, attended Sacramento City College, and through Sacramento State. I understand the importance and the value with bridging that digital divide. So for the city, yeah, we feel the city plays a leadership role in digital inclusion demonstrated through our partnerships, of course, with the Capital Region Coalition, digital inclusion and participation in this convening, such as, of course, this meeting here, and ongoing collaboration with our community partners to advance broadband access, digital literacy, and device distribution efforts. So, in addition, the city drives major digital initiatives from partnering with SCDI and supporting the state and national grant programs to delivering technology kits, hosting town hall meetings, such as promoting CyberSafe Sacramento, which is also a website, as well as we promote town hall meetings for seniors to bridge that digital divide. And just recently, we're gonna hold also looking to hold another town hall meeting for small businesses and cybersecurity. Two, expanding digital literacy programs, highlighting a sustained commitment to closing that digital divide across the region. And that's what the city of Sacramento is looking to do.
Hi, I am Susie Murray. I'm with the Sacramento Public Library. My role with the library system is I am the electronic resources selection specialist. So what that means is I oversee all of our digital services, public-facing services, all of our ebooks, our audiobooks, our streaming video, our online learning. Sacramento Public Library, we've got 28 branches. throughout the county, down in the Delta. We've got rural branches, urban branches, suburban, big, small. And I've been in my current role as supporting the digital resources for a little over 3 years, just over 3 years. Before that, I was in public services as a librarian and a branch supervisor for 22 years throughout the system. So in my 25 years with Sacramento Public Library, I have seen huge changes, right? So, and because we are so embedded into the neighborhoods and we're such a part of the neighborhoods, Sacramento Public Library has been here for over 150 years, right? So we are the go-to resource. So for us, digital inclusion is can you use our stuff increasingly? A lot of research, we're the go-to research. A lot of research resources are no longer available in paper. The only way you can get them is digitally. So yeah, digital inclusion and digital equity is a big one for us.
Thank you all. I want to highlight everyone's geographical areas and the organizations in which are represented, from statewide nonprofits, local nonprofits, to citywide local governments, as well as our county jurisdictions and public agencies. We really do have a diverse kind of organization and sector here, representing various needs when it comes to digital inclusion. Would you be able to expand more on what your organization's connection to digital inclusion is?
I'll go. Okay. So in terms of the library for Sacramento Public Library and basically all libraries, reading, learning, and research, as I had said, is increasingly moving from physical formats to digital. And so digital inclusion and equity have become a core part of what we do. Affordable access to broadband and connected devices is a huge concern for us. So just to illustrate that, a year ago, our digital checkouts, so our checkouts of ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, for the first time surpassed our physical checkouts. And that digital usage continues to outpace our physical circulation. And our response to that shift over time has been to do things like offer free public access computers in all of our branches. And we have also, ever since I've been with the library, we've provided free Wi-Fi. We also provide online and in-person instructions. Some of that is very informal. Every January, we know that we're going to have folks coming in our library with the Kindle that they just got for Christmas or the new phone, and they will come to us to try to learn how to use it, for help using it. So some of that is very informal. Some of that is more formal we have tech help appointments that we will schedule that folks can sign up for at some of our branches. And in some cases, we do have formal classes. And we also have a whole suite of online learning resources, from very basic digital skills to this is an iPad, this is how it works, all the way up to certification in AWS and that sort of thing. So that's how we have tried to meet that moment.
You can go reverse if you want. That's that works for me. So the city identified and engaged digital inclusion services by leveraging regional partnerships and shared resources, including our longstanding collaboration with Valley Vision and the city's Economic Development Department, which both have consistently provided guidance on our current efforts, community needs, and project opportunities. So these RESAs helped highlight successful past efforts, such as the city's laptop and mobile hotspot distribution event, to our region's community-based organizations. We also provide digital literacy training and initiatives, partnering with both the FBI, state agencies to host CyberSafe Sacramento events, and cross-agency collaborations to expand low-cost enrollment and broadband access. The city's developed a Sacramento broadband strategy. We leveraged a LATA grant for that from the CPUC, and even ingrained it into our city's general plan for 2040. We developed a broadband expansion strategy, emphasizing the city's role as a lead agency supporting the regional digital equity work. So upcoming opportunities include continued participation in regional convenings and exploring project partnerships aimed at advancing digital inclusion and digital equity goals across Sacramento. So we're always looking to partner. We're always looking to expand and do what we can. But our heavy focus has just recently have been in expanding the broadband access within Sacramento.
Oh, I'll tap in. So digital inclusion for Color the Block has been deeply connected to our mission. It's been deeply connected, especially as we look at equitable access opportunities. And we look at that from a framework of all the different sectors that Color the Block does. Knowing that digital divide isn't really just about the technology itself, but this is also about access to healthcare, right? Your access to education, employment, even basic communication with family members. So understanding that, especially since the pandemic, there's been this significant shift in the use, the use in technology. So through a lot of our direct community engagement, we saw that our residents, and specifically our seniors and low income households, either they didn't have devices, they didn't have reliable internet, or they lacked the confidence to navigate through it. So being able to help overcome some of these barriers, became like a catalyst for us. When we saw, I think we all kind of saw it really more visible during the pandemic, as we watched everything shift online, including education. So in response, we already had, before even partnering with CTF, we had started some of our digital literacy programming, specifically focusing on our tiny tots, looking at the age ranges under 10. And we had started really focusing on that for digital inclusion specifically because, uh, me coming from the generation of like the MySpaces and the Facebook launches, right? Like we understood how easy it is to know about to and need your children to understand about these safeguards with digital access, and specifically with our younger kids. My little kids know how to use the iPad better than me sometimes. So, knowing that we have these barriers not only for the parents and for the youth, it became more of digital empowerment for us, and taking up the opportunity to really fill up space for digital inclusion.
So CETF has been doing this work for almost 20 years. We turn 20 at the beginning of next year. And through that experience, one of the things that we found, and this was presented on last week as well, is that when we are facilitating digital inclusion and we're a partner-oriented organization, a grantor, so we provide grants to work with us, we found that we really need these wraparound supports of an ecosystem. And this is resources that we provide to our partners. And this encompasses the entire cycle of getting an adoption, essentially, right? So I'm not going to go through everything in detail, but we do direct notification, which we usually do through state partners, for example, like, I don't know, the County of Sacramento. And then those direct notifications are driven to our centralized call center, which is run it's run by Patty Bibby, but the agents are our CBO grantees, and we have anywhere to 90 agents up on any given day. And we just, in less than 2 years, completed 20,000 enrollments through that call center. So a centralized call center was a need California wide. And so that's a resource that we offer. We also offer digital navigator training, and this is a train the trainer model where we train folks in different types of organizations. They might not be working in digital equity, to be digital navigators, to understand the full cycle of an adoption and computers, and then also to provide the digital literacy training, which is the main job, in our opinion, of those digital navigators who are working with the community and language and culture. And so we trust them in that work. And so this is all to say that we have an ecosystem. We bring in partners that get the benefit of all of the ecosystem, as well as a centralized process, which takes some of the pressure off of them and puts it back on us. So that being said, and I mentioned in my intro of CETF that we were founded through a public benefits agreement in two mergers, actually. That is CETF's main source of funding. That's how we are typically funded. We've been through, I believe, 5 of these mergers, which have provided public benefits for digital inclusion. And we most recently just completed the Verizon Public Benefits MOU when they were just approved to acquire Frontier. And that provides $40 million to get 100,000 low-income, unconnected households online and digitally proficient. And so this is a big upcoming project, and I am sort of going to do a call to action here that we are inviting any organization throughout California that wants to either get their feet wet in this work or has been doing this work for a while and wants to join us. 100,000 unconnected households is huge. And we estimate, CETF estimates there's only about 500,000 unconnected households left in California. That's actually why it's 100,000 households. So this will make significant progress in actually closing that digital divide. So the first step for that is we are doing digital inclusion listening sessions to gather input from stakeholders on strategies to get those 100,000 low-income unconnected households online and digitally proficient. And we would love the opportunity to hear from you all about what your ideas are. And when I talk about that, like I said, I only mentioned a couple of pieces of the ecosystem, but how do we reach those folks, right? This is like a needle in an ever-growing haystack to find the truly unconnected households. So that's one strategy area we're looking at. How can you get those folks connected online? We have a call center resource for you, but enrollment events are, what are your ideas of actually getting those folks online and then getting them digitally proficient? So we would be charmed and delighted to work with organizations. We do a lot of capacity building in our work with CBOs as the grantor. But we need all of the partnerships to really achieve these goals. CTF is insanely lean. We are 12 people. And so really the majority of our work is done through these community-based organizations who are on the ground and really doing the hard work, like Morgan in Color the Block. So I will stop there.
Thank you all for sharing. I really truly want to know the resources and efforts that we've seen so far from Susie from the Sacramento Public Library, having the informal tech assistance and the formal tech help, and also the free access to devices, to the City of Sacramento, having all these partnerships, being able to have a successful device distribution event just last year, as well as using California Public Utilities funding to be able to create a broadband strategy, which helped then inform your general plan, as well as Morgan with Color the Block, who eloquently said that digital equity isn't just the device itself. All these statements are super important, really do tie to the understanding of how digital equity is an ecosystem and what resources need to be in place in order for digital inclusion services and efforts to be in existence. With that in mind, do have a follow-up question of what additional resources allowed your organization to identify and engage in digital inclusion services? Are there any previous or current efforts you're engaged in or upcoming opportunities you're exploring that you would like to highlight? I understand, Kat, that you did mention both the listening sessions occurring weekly to support the unconnected household enrollment, as well as the call centers, welcoming any other input.
Yeah, so I jump right in. So I'll say that at least for Color of the Block, resources, the entry into digital inclusion came from a combination of things. We had community listening, I know partnerships and the cross-sector collaborations, because we do operate in multiple community programs, and that can be anywhere from like the youth leadership initiatives to our community gardens and resource fairs. We're able to interact with residents regularly. So these relationships, we're able to listen firsthand to see what the families were struggling with. And the partnerships have been like absolutely instrumental and crucial. I can highly note like the Valley Vision, CTF, and other regional inclusion partnerships that we've had. They've been able to help provide the framework, right? The networking opportunities, and obviously, some of the fiscal support that's needed to actually be able to sustain these programs across the region. I guess to highlighting some of the programs that we have, as well as when we recognize our the problems, kind of designing like the practical solutions. But with the programs we've been looking at, how we've been effectively distributing our weekly digital cohorts, how the hands-on learning environments are actually working for our beginners. I think that maybe one of our biggest lessons and struggles that we do have really is with the low-cost internet connections. While yes, we're able to get the residents connected. Again, I still, there's still some of that hesitation when it comes to like those warm handoffs, trying to send somebody to make the phone call as opposed to, especially with the senior communities, as opposed to them being able to just immediately like talk with someone who can help them there. But one of the biggest lessons I will say that like really for us is that we've learned that, community residents genuinely are looking for trust-centered spaces and community-centered spaces, right? Like it kind of results driven, the word of mouth thing. So, for us, it's been whether or not, it's been a youth program or garden program or community event, those spaces feel safe for them. And so, we've been able to get really, really good responses. So ultimately, like our goal at this point is to continue to try to build a sustainable ecosystem of digital access and training really all throughout South Sacramento.
This is Kat. With regards to resources that we might need, I think that's what I heard in your question. I would say for us, our biggest pain point is devices. Devices, as you have already heard, are a very important part of an adoption. And we do need low cost devices. And so the strategy that CETF has come up with is the Green Tech Initiative, right? I think we heard from AT&T, who worked with Human IT as a refurbisher. We work with Human IT and Computers for Kids and Tech Exchange and Loaves, Fishes, and Internet. All of these refurbishers. We love local refurbishers, and Revivin is a big one in California. Um, and so that's where we purchase low cost devices that are then given to the community. But the Green Tech Initiative is really about getting people to actually refurbish those devices so that we can have revenue from that to buy the devices back and provide them to the community. And so, in that respect, what we really need are anybody and everybody to come to us and talk about refurbishing the devices that you use in your organization, whether you have 40 devices or 100 devices or 100,000 devices. We would love to talk to you and connect you with refurbishers so that you can be part of the Green Tech Initiative and also really see the community get these devices. These refurbished devices they get are actually very good quality. And so, for CETF, working with different types of organizations to get those donations of devices is a really big ask. So, and green tech.
And I can go ahead and go. So with the city of Sacramento, in regards to resources we may need, is keeping the city informed on grant opportunities and regional partnership opportunities. I mean, Kat, when you said that sounded amazing, and we had partnered. We partner with everybody we can. So we partnered with the state CDT and Sacramento County to expand fiber expansion throughout the city of Sacramento. We have over 200 miles of fiber, and we're leveraging that fiber to actually assist with providing broadband connectivity to facilities and communities that haven't had that connectivity. And like I said, when we partnered with the FBI and Sacramento County on digital literacy training, that event was great. UC Davis, CSU, SAC Unified on internships and senior project advisors. Everybody within the city of Sacramento IT is actively involved in this. We also provide, of course, the career guidance with Sacramento City Unified, that is, as well as our commercial providers. We partnered with T-Mobile and Dell for the distribution of devices last year. But behind the scenes, we've always partnered with Astound, Fidium Fiber, and even Tri-Counties Bank to be a commercial provider and create those partnerships for some of those digital literacy training we had at some of the senior centers. So at the city, we're always willing to explore these partnerships and trying to bridge that digital divide. Just recently, we took on the challenge of looking at the laptop distribution as an opportunity. And so, with that, when the pandemic had hit, we went from having a lot of desktops in the city and supporting. We have about an employee base of about 5,400 to buying thousands of laptops. And now we're doing a refurbishment internally we're taking the commercial laptop and we have an enterprise application that's installed on there, right? A Windows operating system that we have to remove. But when we partnered with Dell, they told us that we purchased those laptops already with an operating system. So we have internships right now with the city that are getting those laptops factory ready, and we're going to be looking to partner with somebody to get them distributed. I'm going through right now with our procurement process to find out how we can actually hand off. It's an asset owned by the city, but there's no value to it. But how we can hand that off to another agency who can then distribute that. And so that's an active project that we have ongoing right now. But yeah, this is great. The partnerships and opportunities are always great, and we're always looking to partner. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for us, in terms of digital inclusion and digital equity and partnerships, I think the best example I can come up with is, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but is tech skills and digital equity for seniors, right? So at the library, we've known for a really long time that there was a particular need for tech help for and instruction for older adults. And so, being librarians, we were going to create our own curriculum and roll it out and teach the classes ourselves. And it became very clear that we didn't have the skill set, we didn't have the time, we didn't have the staff bandwidth, and it was never able to get off the ground. So then we started looking for partnerships in our community engagement department. We have Katie Ball. So she reached out to Sac State for student interns. And we were trying to get this off the ground, but it was really the networking. So this is happening. And last year, Navreet, I just showed up at a meeting in Oak Park, and the right people were in the right room at the right time and wanted to talk to us. And so we found out about the CPUC CASF grants, right? So then we connected Navreet with Katie. Katie's writing a grant, a CASF grant, and Valley Vision was able to help with a letter of support. So but for us, the resources are really the networking, right? The way to, right, have the right meeting and the right people to just show up. But yeah, that was a very serendipitous event for sure.
Thank you all for sharing. There were several highlights beyond the resources provided and upcoming projects. We see the library with the CASP opportunity, the City of Sacramento exploring a new opportunity as well with a future potential device distribution, as well as their internal refurbishment. And then, of course, we see Color the Block doing amazing work within the CETF EB 617 Communities Empowerment Initiative. With this in mind, there was several things that was mentioned just related to resources and support needed from being able to help develop a sustainable ecosystem to receiving devices, including receiving information, as well as continue networking. With our kind of final question and closing of the panel, are there any additional insights, services, or assistance that the coalition can provide to help support your organization's continued engagement in digital inclusion?
Navreet, this is Trish. I wanted to note that I think the event, Susie, that you were talking about was the last summer when we did the community meeting. That's where we met Morgan, who's been involved with Valley Vision and other things, but that was for the AB 617 project that CETF is supporting. So that's really exciting to see, like you're saying, how these connections can lead to more partnerships. And Manny, it's really exciting to hear about what you're doing as for the device refurbishing yourself, because that's the model I think that other cities should use. And that's, again, the Green Tech Initiative that CTF is trying to support across the state because it's the waste reduction, but it's getting these devices to these community programs because, as everybody's saying, the devices are really what we need to activate to that next level. So really excited. Thank you for your leadership. Looking forward to getting the devices to all of our partners here, and just want to thank Morgan too for coming in to this space, and really all the leadership you're showing, Kat, and CTF. It's phenomenal partners for all the support you provide, not only for Valley Vision, but the community partners. So Susie, it's great to be working with the library. They were one of the city and the library were some of the original founders of the coalition. So thank you again.
I mean, I can also say just from the perspective of the library, since we are already, you talked about trust earlier. We've been trusted. We've been trusted in neighborhoods, right? Like I've literally seen kids that were in my story time group they come back with their own kids, So we have those relationships, but if we can get the information, that's what can really help us. So like at the meeting last summer, I didn't know about all of I didn't know about any of this, right? The all of the different referrals and I had no idea. So I went right back to the system and let everybody know. So and continue conversations. So again, you just never know. You never know who's going to be sitting in the room. You never know who's going to be on the call.
I would just reiterate to everybody again about the listening sessions. Susie, it's great to hear that you went after a CASF grant. We are also funding through this this Verizon MOU digital skills to digital literacy training. And so, yeah, please, we're looking for partners who are interested in doing this work. And that's obviously everyone on the call. Digital literacy training is one of those facets. And if you are joining our ecosystem, again, we have digital navigator training. We provide you the curriculum and assessments, and we give you all the tools and PowerPoints you need to accomplish that task. So, I just will do another call. So please join us and become part of the CETF family.
I would say the best way for the collaboratives really to be able to continue to support the organization's continued engagement. Really, like I said, the looking at the investment in grassroots organizations. Again, the community-based organizations, we tend to be the ones that have the direct relationships with residents. And that's what continues to make a lot of these programs successful. And then again, more and continued regional coordination and collaboration. Continuing to keep small organizations, grassroots organizations in the conversation. A lot of times, again, our organization is still slightly but expanded really quickly. But we've noticed how, sometimes we feel like we're not a part of the conversation. So that way, when we're not a part of the conversation, you may not really understand what's going on the ground. Instead of us all operating in silos, us operating in more collaboration and unity.
Yeah, and for the city, it's meetings like this, right? Just like you said, Susie, you don't know who's in the room, and like I said, looking at the city and some of our policies that we had with procurement, not being able to refurbish those laptops internally, they were antiquated. So, I put a challenge out there to other organizations that are listening that may have some of those antiquated policies, procurement policies, that now's the time to kind of challenge that with green initiatives and refurbishment of your own. When we buy these hardwares, when we buy this hardware in bulk, they already come with the operating system and stuff like that. So the refurbishment is pretty minimal. And then when we look at interns and they learn a great deal from being able to download those existing operating systems and refurbishing those laptops in house. And then creating that partnership to for the distribution. So, like I said, it's the challenging of our own procurement policies and systems, as well as kind of looking out of the box of what we've done in the past, and then trying to look to help bridge that digital divide and what we can do to move it forward.
Thank you all for your insights today.